Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. And we've got a misty old morning, misty and a little bit breezy, as you can see. The breeze looks like it's coming in from the east. It's mild, it's very comfortable actually, it's lovely, but a little foggy just above the bridge there, a little bit misty. It's been raining all night. Looks like it's going to be raining all day. Yesterday I was rained off work, so headed home at about 10 o'clock. And it was a lovely and a welcome sort of relief midweek to go home and to get paid. So not complaining. So let's go on our walk and talk. Once again, I welcome you and I thank you for joining me on Jim's 5 a.m. club. Today is episode number 503. 503 in English, and I've got 61 in Greek, and I'm well on my way to cracking the 1,000 blogs that I've set myself as a target. And we'll see how we go, because I'm enjoying it so much, and I promise you that the next 500 are going to be much better than the first 500. And if you stick with me, I'm going to teach you more about more things than all of your friends and Facebook contacts put together. So it's my style. I enjoy teaching, I enjoy learning, and my mantra is live, learn and pass it on. So indulge me if you wish and join me on this wonderful journey, and we'll see where it takes us. But today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about a topic that I've got near and dear to my heart. It's a book summary from a wonderful author, Brian Tracy, and the book is entitled Stay in Love Forever. The book by Brian Tracy is entitled Stay in Love Forever, and it's a relationship book, and a very powerful text on staying in love, staying connected, staying together. And it's very timely, because we live in a world which is characterized by breakup and challenges. So any advice that we can receive to help us live better relationships and to make the most of our love life is most welcomed, is the way I see it. Anyway, so Brian Tracy kicks off his book making a very bold statement, saying that relationships are the most important thing in our lives. The person who we choose to marry, the person who we choose to spend the rest of our life with, is without a doubt the biggest and most important decision we ever get to make in our lives, because it's sanctifying. You know, the person you choose to be with, as my spiritual father says, will help you get to heaven, because what you're doing is, by being married, by being in a relationship, by loving somebody else, you're learning God's love, and that's an unconditional love where you accept them, you spend the rest of your days with them, you commit to them, and you join them as one to start a family and to continue the good works, so to speak, and to grow and develop as a good person, as a good Christian, and to make the most of the world that we have available to us. So Brian Tracy makes no qualms in terms of saying that relationships are key, because on our own it's difficult. I think Brian Tracy's trying to suggest it's very, very difficult because you get defined through your relationships. You know, relationships are our mirror, allow us to A, understand ourselves, and B, allow us to ping and understand the world around us, and a key to our psychological health and our sense of existence, our existential existence and definition. So he makes a number of points, so we'll just go through the points as best we can. Starting to sprinkle here a bit, so I'll just be careful that I get caught up in the rain. So his first comment is to make total commitment. When you get married, when you meet your partner, the love of your life, and you decide to get married, that you need to make a total commitment and to never ever consider getting out of it, and to stick with it, make the most of it, and do whatever you can to make it work, essentially, to make it work, knowing that it's going to be challenging, you know, knowing that it's going to be tough, and not living with the illusion that you get married and it's going to be rosy all the time. You have to understand that there are challenges, there are ups and there are downs, and you need to do a thing which Brian calls the best friend test. That ask yourself, you know, if your partner is the person who you trust the most, you're the most honest with, and you're the most open with, and the one that you don't keep secrets from. That's a big, big test, and I guess a lot of us may fail in some of those areas. So it's a powerful reminder that your partner, your life partner, needs to be your best friend as well, and no one else should stand between you and your partner in terms of trust, openness, honesty, and total commitment. So straight away he hits a home run, and I guess he like a bowling pin, like a bowling ball going down a bowling alley, he knocks us all for six, because I guess most people are very wanting in that area. So do the best friend test and see how you stand in terms of your relationship. The next point he makes is that the importance of having open communication, to be open, honest about how you feel with your partner. You know, how many people have got the guts to be open and honest with their partner and to tell them what they want emotionally, physically, and in all areas of their lives. A lot of people, I would imagine, have problems with this. And Brian Tracy, his call to action is to never have secrets from your partner. Your partner needs to know everything that's going on in your life, good and bad, and to work together to resolve issues, and to not fear asking for what you want, the support you need, and know that it is forthcoming through your partner. Then he goes on to a little bit of practical, let me just get out of this wind, it's just blowing a bit. He goes on to some practical advice, and he said that we need to accept the differences that we have, because after all, it's these differences that attracted ourselves, or attracted you to your partner in the first place. Just think about it. It's the differences that attracted you to your partner. You know, their beauty, their confidence, certain strengths that they have which complemented and supplemented your strengths. Now just think about the fact that the reason why you are attracted to your partner is because of the differences. So what you mustn't do, or you mustn't think about doing, is changing them, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be eliminating or reducing or pruning, damaging the things that you found sexy about them, the things that you found powerful about them. And he also says something which is really, really powerful, especially to young people who are getting into relationships, that people don't change. People don't change. If anything, people get worse. So you mustn't go into a relationship trying or thinking or expecting your partner to change, because they're just not going to change. So accept them for who they are, because if you're going to go into a partnership or relationship expecting your partner to change, you are going to be bitterly disappointed. So a very important point, you know. So he makes it. He makes a very bold point, which very, very few people have the guts to say this. You know, your parents, your in-laws, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts aren't going to be forthright with you. You know, the bottom line is that people don't change, as Brian Tracy reminds us. If anything, he says, they get worse. So you need to be going into a relationship with both eyes open, knowing that they're not going to change, and also knowing that you fall in love with people's strengths, and then you start noticing their weaknesses. But once you fall in love, once you're committed, once you're in a relationship, don't try and change those strengths, and don't try and build those weaknesses. It's up to your partner to improve their weaknesses, and the more you push them, the more they're going to be pushing back, is a lesson in life. So Brian Tracy then suggests that we practice unconditional positive regard, and to tell your partner on a regular basis that you believe in them, and to tell them constantly and to remind them that they are the best, to embolden them and to make them feel loved. Then Brian goes on to talk about other things. He talks about the fact that you need to be a good listener. And we learn this early in our lives, that to survive relationships, to survive friendships, to survive many of the important things in our lives, we need to be attentive, good listeners, because through listening you gain clues. Through listening you're able to tune in to the emotions and build your emotional inventory, and use your emotional intelligence to gain the most out of the people around you. Because by listening, this is very, very powerful. By listening, you show that you value the person who you're listening to. And there's nothing more powerful, nothing more intoxicating for a person than to know that there are people who are listening to them, because it shows respect, it shows regard, especially in a world of distraction, of constant interruption. If you can show a person the respect that you're listening to them, then you're going to be top of their list in terms of the people that they love and want to hang out with. And Brian Tracy talks about listening and describes it as being white magic. How good is that? That listening is white magic. If you can develop the skill of listening, then you're going to be able to work magic with people and be the magic glue that holds people and relationships together. And he goes on to talk about the art of listening, and you need to be able to listen without interrupting, and if you do interrupt, to ask questions, and to avoid going into solution mode, because people don't want to be told what to do. people don't want to be invalidated by somebody constantly piping up and telling them this is what you need to do, or to say whatever they're saying is rubbish or wrong or incorrect. We're surrounded by people who pop up and think that they are the oracle and know everything, only to realise that the people who think they know everything know absolutely nothing at all. So he also goes on to say that you need to set reasonable standards and not to be too complex in the standards and too difficult in the standards that you set in your lives. Because the bottom line is that all of us, every single one of us, have more weaknesses than what we have strengths. That was a real eye-opener for me, just to hear Brian Tracy state the bloody obvious, but you never hear it these days, because most people think that they've got more strengths than weaknesses. But the reality is that we all have more weaknesses than strengths. The only problem is that we don't tend to know them or see them or acknowledge them unless you're really in tune and really sensitive to how you behave and how you compare yourself to others. But the bottom line is that we have a few redeeming strengths, but there's a lot of weaknesses out there that we all have, and basically just need to be ignored. If you love somebody, you focus on what's good about them, and you help them, if possible, with their weaknesses, but you don't want to spend too much time focusing on people's weaknesses. And once again, Brian just reminds us that we fall in love with people's strengths and then discover their weaknesses, but we need to spend as much time as possible and as much energy as possible to help raise our partner's self-esteem and help them feel important and to make them feel accepted. There's nothing more powerful in the world than a person feeling accepted, because I guess at the end of the day, we all know that we're not perfect. We all know that we're incomplete. But when somebody accepts you with your incompleteness, it is just a powerful thing, and is transformative. Can make somebody feel as if they're part of something, and that they don't need to change, and that they can relax to a certain extent, knowing that just by being you, just by being me, I am still lovable and wanted in the world. So then Brian goes on to state another obvious point, a powerful point, that what we need to do is focus on what is right, not for what is always going wrong. We know that we've got people who are always going to be focusing on what we're not doing right and reminding us, and those people are absolute pains, but they can't help themselves. They've got their own psychological and mental issues, because if you're always focusing on what other people are doing wrong and not focusing on improving and growing and developing yourself, then it's obvious that they have many problems themselves, because a person, an empowered person, rather than worrying about everybody else and trying to solve and fix everybody else, spends more time fixing themselves and then showing through their example what is right or what is possible, and then people will follow them anyway. So don't be a nitpicker, don't be a negative Nancy, don't be a Debbie Downer, don't sit there and tell people that they're wrong. Don't invalidate people around you, because your invalidation is not welcomed, is the bottom line. Because people want to be admired, they want to be complimented, they want to be approved of, they want to be praised. And Brian Tracy then says, you know, in your relationship, never go to bed upset, and to always treat your partner as the most important person in the world. A lot of us make the mistake, and when we're in a relationship, when we're married, we see it's a war game. It's a competition to try and see, you know, who's right and who's the more valid out of the two all the time. But that's most damaging, because we both have failings, we both have weaknesses. And Brian then talks about the importance of forgiving each other, but not only forgiving each other, but forgiving each other on a daily basis, because we're always letting each other down. A day doesn't pass, a moment doesn't pass where we're not meeting the expectations, we're not supporting our partners in a way which is expected. And my spiritual father told me many years ago that it's important to seek forgiveness, to seek and give forgiveness on a daily basis to your partner. And here we have Brian Tracy saying exactly the same thing, which is empowering to know that there's a common thread which goes through both religion and popular writing culture. Brian then also mentions that it's important to always offer to help. Just to offer to help, and to help where possible, is something which is always welcomed, and something that a lot of us don't understand the power of. But if you want to stay in love forever, according to Brian Tracy, always offer to help your partner, share the chores and do things. As my mother used to say, "Namik sesenerizese." Don't be the sort of person who breaks up the partnership or does things in a way which unsettles the love and the connection in a partnership. Brian then also mentions that it's important to learn the other person's interests. Now, what is your partner interested in? You know, and to learn more about that interest and to support them with that interest. The last few points Brian talks about is to accept complete responsibility to making the relationship work, and don't expect your partner to always be responsible. If we each take full responsibility for our relationships, then we're both going to be working towards doing whatever it takes to make it work, to make it last, and to make it survive. Make time and develop shared goals is another point that Brian talks about. And the most important thing he says is the couple that pray together are the ones that stay together. That's pretty obvious, and I'm just thankful that I've been born into a Christian family where prayer, religion is central to the way we live, the way we think, the way we behave. And the last couple of points are the ones which are beautiful as well, and it relates also to another book that I read, a book that I read entitled Love and Respect. And Brian reminds us that the important thing in our lives is to give our partners the things that resonates most with them. And men and women are different in many ways, but Brian once again reminds us that women have a yearning and a need to be loved, whereas men have a yearning and a need to be respected. So if you're a man, love your woman. Tell her that you love her, show her that you love her, remind her that you love her, because love for a woman is the most important thing in her life. Whereas if you're a woman, understand that men have a big need to be respected. So try and incorporate the word respect into your vocabulary. So when you're talking to your man, to your partner, just tell them that you respect them. I respect you because blah, blah, blah. And men, learn to incorporate in your language the word love and to tell your partner, your wife, what I love most about you is blah, blah, blah. And if you do this on a regular basis, according to Brian Tracy, according to many authors, and according to the people who have been married and survived marriage and thrived in a married environment for many years, then you'll bypass the challenges, the heartache, the pain, the suffering that people have, because you've learnt the white magic. You've learned how to be the magic glue. You've learned how to bring out the best in not only yourself, but also your partner, and you're making it work. And I think that's about it for today. So thank you very much on this gloomy Thursday on my 503rd Gym's 5 a.m. club. Let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, stay in love with your significant other, with your wife, your husband, your partner, your life partner, and learn to bring out the best in each other. Learn to stay in love forever, as Brian Tracy has talked about, and take a few points from this wonderful book. Anyway, I'll head off to work. Have a great day. I wish you all the very best, and I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment where we can grow and develop, share experiences, and live, learn, and pass it on. Yasas, sasagapao. Be lucky and have a great day today. A happy Thursday to everybody. Bye for now, and yasas.